Welcome to Unmasked Fame, where we uncover dark secrets, stories, and conspiracies about the world's most famous celebrities and actors.
You know that feeling when someone you grew up watching suddenly disappears from the spotlight, leaving behind nothing but whispers and tabloid headlines? Well, Amanda Bynes lived that nightmare in real time, and the world watched it unfold with a mixture of fascination and horror. We're talking about secrets, spiraling mental health, and a Hollywood machine that chewed up one of its brightest young stars. Get ready to dive deep into a story that's more twisted than any script she ever performed. Because what happened to Amanda Bynes behind closed doors will shock you to your core. Growing up in the late 90s and early 2000s, if you turned on Nickelodeon, Amanda Bynes was everywhere. She was the girl next door with perfect comedic timing, the one who could make you laugh until your sides hurt. But behind that infectious smile and bubbly personality was a young woman carrying burdens that would eventually crush her. The transformation from beloved child star to tabloid tragedy didn't happen overnight. It was a slow burn that started in boardrooms and dressing rooms, fueled by pressure, expectations, and demons that nobody saw coming. The speculation and rumors that surrounded Bynes during her breakdown were as relentless as they were heartbreaking. Fame. Remember how her name became synonymous with erratic behavior, bizarre social media posts, and public meltdowns that made headlines around the world? It was all because of a perfect storm of circumstances that nobody could have predicted. Even though she tried to maintain some semblance of control, the cracks were already showing, and the entertainment industry's response put a question mark on everything we thought we knew about child stardom. Like many of her generation, Amanda Bynes never had the chance to grow up away from the cameras. Maybe she was waiting for the right moment to break free, but the same industry that made her famous also became her prison. The pressure was suffocating, and the expectations were impossible to meet. When the breakdown finally came, it wasn't just about one person falling apart. It was about an entire system that had failed to protect someone who had given them everything. Let's talk about Amanda Bynes, a celebrity known for her incredible talent and infectious energy in the world of entertainment. But there's so much more to her story than just her public image. Behind the scenes, she was fighting battles that many didn't know about, and it became the talk of every entertainment news show. When reports started surfacing about her erratic behavior and legal troubles, people weren't just focused on her career, but also on the shocking transformation that had left everyone stunned. Some thought that if Amanda Bynes had received proper support and intervention during her early warning signs, it could have made a positive difference, not just for her, but for the entire conversation about mental health in Hollywood. Bynes had long been considered one of the most promising young talents in the entertainment industry. Despite her regular appearances on red carpets and award shows, she faced mounting pressures that most people her age never experience. But she never took the warning signs seriously enough, and when asked about her well-being, she used to deflect with humor and charm. Even though Amanda Bynes was talented and successful, there was always something brewing beneath the surface that she couldn't quite articulate, and that's understandable. Nobody would blame a young person for struggling with the intensity of fame, but it seems like something was always eating away at her, like a shadow following her around wherever she went. It's so tragic that she had to experience such a public breakdown for people to finally understand what she'd been going through all along. Amanda Laura Bynes was born on April 3, 1986, in Thousand Oaks, California. Her parents were Rick Bynes, a dentist, and Lynn Bynes, a dental assistant and office manager. She had two siblings, Tommy and Jillian, and they formed a close-knit family unit that seemed picture-perfect from the outside. Amanda showed signs of performing talent from an early age, participating in local theater productions and comedy camps. Her natural ability to make people laugh was evident even as a small child, and everyone who met her could see that spark of something special. Her childhood exposure to the entertainment industry started when she was discovered at a comedy camp at age 7. Young Amanda was drawn to sketch comedy and improv, finding joy in the immediate feedback and laughter from audiences. She began appearing in various stage productions and commercials, slowly building a resume that would eventually catch the attention of major networks. But even then, there were signs that the pressure of performing was taking its toll, though nobody recognized them at the time. Once upon a time, Amanda Bynes was the undisputed queen of kids' television. She was the go-to person for anything related to comedy and entertainment for an entire generation. She even showed her versatility by branching out into different types of roles and projects. When she got her breakthrough opportunity, young and full of dreams, Amanda decided to dive headfirst into the world of professional entertainment. It didn't take long before Bynes landed her first major television role on Nickelodeon's All That when she was just 10 years old. She was so good with sketch comedy that it became her signature style, leading to her own spin-off show. The Amanda Bynes Show premiered when she was still a teenager, making her one of the youngest people to have their own variety show on television. This early success led many to think she was destined for greatness, but it also meant she was growing up entirely in the public eye. The pressure was immense from the very beginning. While other kids her age were worried about homework and friendships, Amanda was memorizing scripts, dealing with network executives, and maintaining a public persona that demanded perfection. The entertainment industry had very specific expectations for young female stars, and Amanda felt the weight of those expectations every single day. She was expected to be funny, but not too edgy, relatable but still aspirational, and most importantly, she had to stay scandal-free. Her business ventures and entertainment empire seemed unstoppable during her peak years. She transitioned from television to movies with films like She's the Man and Hairspray, proving she could handle both comedy and more serious dramatic roles. The Amanda Bynes brand was worth millions, and everyone wanted a piece of her success. She was landing magazine covers, endorsement deals, and movie contracts that most actors could only dream of. But even during her most successful period, there were warning signs that something wasn't quite right. Those close to her reported mood swings, increasing anxiety about her appearance and performance, and a growing dependence on various substances to cope with the pressure. Although the public saw a confident, funny young woman who seemed to have it all together was much more complicated, and the reality behind the scenes troubling. Her struggles with identity became more apparent as she tried to transition from teen roles to more mature projects. The entertainment industry wasn't sure how to market an adult caught between the Amanda Bynes, and she found her self-wholesome image that made her famous and her desire to be taken seriously as an adult performer. This identity crisis would prove to be one of the major factors that contributed to her eventual breakdown. The beginning of the end started with small changes that most people dismissed as typical celebrity eccentricity. Amanda began making unusual fashion choices, posting strange messages on social media, and exhibiting behavior that seemed increasingly erratic to those who knew her well. What started as minor incidents gradually escalated into major public spectacles that dominated entertainment news cycles for months. Behind all the headlines and speculation was a young woman who had lost herself somewhere between childhood and adulthood, between private person and public figure. The Amanda Bynes story isn't just about one person's fall from grace. It's about an entire system that creates child stars and then abandons them when they need help the most. And what happened next would shock everyone who thought they knew the real Amanda Bynes. The spiral began in 2010, and nobody saw it coming. Amanda had just announced her retirement from acting via Twitter, shocking fans and industry insiders alike. She was only 24 years old at the peak of her career, with movie deals on the table and a fan base that adored her. But something had shifted inside her mind, something dark and consuming. that would soon take control of everything she thought she knew about herself. The first real signs of trouble emerged during what should have been routine public appearances. Amanda started showing up to events looking disheveled, her once perfect hair now covered by colorful wigs that seemed to change daily. Her speech patterns became erratic, jumping from topic to topic without any logical connection. Friends and family members later revealed that she had become obsessed with her appearance, spending hours staring at herself in mirrors and becoming convinced that she looked completely different than she actually did. But the real shock came when Amanda began posting on social media. These weren't the typical celebrity updates about upcoming projects or lifestyle content. These were deeply personal, often disturbing glimpses into a mind that was clearly struggling with reality. She would post photos of herself that were heavily edited, sometimes beyond recognition, accompanied by captions that made no sense to anyone reading them. The posts became more frequent and more bizarre, creating a digital trail of someone losing their grip on sanity in real time. The entertainment industry's response was swift and brutal. Instead of reaching out to help, executives began distancing themselves from Amanda. Movie deals evaporated overnight. Her representatives dropped her. The same people who had profited from her talent for years suddenly acted like they had never known her at all. This abandonment only accelerated her downward spiral, creating a vicious cycle where her increasingly erratic behavior pushed away the very people who might have been able to help her. In 2012, the situation exploded into full public view when Amanda was arrested for driving under the influence. But this wasn't just a simple DUI case. The details that emerged painted a picture of someone who had completely lost touch with reality. Police reports described her as confused and disoriented, unable to provide basic information about herself or her circumstances. The mugshot that was released showed a young woman who looked nothing like the polished star the world had known. The arrest was just the beginning of a series of legal troubles that would dominate headlines for the next several years. Amanda was charged with multiple counts of reckless driving, hit-and-run incidents, and possession of controlled substances. Each court appearance became a media circus, with photographers and reporters documenting every erratic outfit choice and bizarre statement she made to the press. During this period, Amanda's social media presence became even more disturbing. She began targeting celebrities with vicious personal attacks, making claims about their appearances and personal lives that had no basis in reality. She accused people of being ugly, demanded that they unalive themselves, and made increasingly threatening statements that alarmed law enforcement. Her Twitter account became a window into a mind that was clearly suffering from severe mental illness. But instead of compassion, the public response was largely mockery and entertainment. The breaking point came in 2013, when Amanda's behavior escalated to dangerous levels. Neighbors began calling police about strange smells and sounds coming from her apartment. When authorities arrived, they discovered that she had been setting small fires, including one incident where she allegedly lit her driveway on fire using gasoline and a lighter. The image of Amanda standing in her driveway, holding a gasoline can while a small fire burned nearby, became one of the most shocking moments of her entire breakdown. But even more disturbing were the reports about her living conditions. People who entered her apartment described it as a disaster zone, with trash piled everywhere, bizarre writings covering the walls, and evidence of drug use scattered throughout the space. Amanda had apparently been living in complete isolation, cutting herself off from family and friends while her mental state deteriorated rapidly. The intervention that followed was both necessary and heartbreaking. Amanda's parents filed for conservatorship, a legal process that would give them control over her finances and medical decisions. The court proceedings revealed the full extent of her mental health crisis, including diagnoses of bipolar disorder and schizophrenia. For the first time, the public began to understand that Amanda's erratic behavior wasn't just celebrity excess or attention-seeking. It was the manifestation of serious mental illness that required immediate medical intervention. The hospitalization that followed was initially kept private, but details eventually leaked to the press. Amanda spent months in psychiatric facilities, undergoing treatment for her various conditions while slowly beginning to reconnect with reality. The process was neither quick nor easy, involving medication adjustments, therapy sessions, and the difficult work of rebuilding relationships with family members who had watched helplessly as she spiraled out of control. During her treatment, disturbing details emerged about the years leading up to her breakdown. Friends revealed that Amanda had been using various substances to cope with anxiety and depression for much longer than anyone had realized. The pressure of maintaining her public image while dealing with undiagnosed mental illness had created an impossible situation that eventually became unsustainable. The role of social media in amplifying her crisis cannot be understated. What might have been a private struggle with mental health became a public spectacle that played out in real time for millions of followers. Every bizarre post, every strange photo, every threatening message became content for entertainment websites and gossip blogs. The very platforms that had once helped build her career became weapons that were used against her when she was at her most vulnerable. Hollywood's treatment of Amanda during this period revealed some of the industry's darkest tendencies. Instead of support, she received ridicule. Instead of privacy, she got increased media attention. The same entertainment machine that had profited from her talent for over a decade suddenly treated her like a cautionary tale rather than a human being who needed help. The financial implications of her breakdown were staggering. Legal fees, medical bills, and the cost of around-the-clock care drained resources that had been built up over years of successful work. The conservatorship structure meant that every expense had to be approved and monitored, adding another layer of complexity to an already difficult situation. Today, Amanda Bynes is slowly rebuilding her life away from the spotlight that once defined her existence. Her story serves as a stark reminder that behind every celebrity breakdown lies a human being who deserved compassion instead of ridicule. The entertainment industry continues to churn out new child stars, but Amanda's journey forces us to ask the uncomfortable question: how many more talented young people will we sacrifice before we finally learn to protect the very individuals who bring us so much joy?